Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and today we're actually starting a pretty cool new series
I think so.
that I'm excited about. This was all your idea, so why don't you just explain what we're going to be talking about? This is pretty cool.
I would love to. So the entire point of our channel is just to talk about what we love about Star Wars, and so I had just felt like we should talk about the characters that we love and why we love them, and just really focusing on their character development. And that can be a lot if you're looking at like 1 through 6 in Clone Wars and Rebels. So we're gonna look at each character that we choose per movie. So like today we're gonna look at Anakin in The Phantom Menace, or else it would be like a 5-10+ hour video. So we're narrowing it down to one movie at a time, and we're just gonna talk about what we love about Anakin in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and what's really cool about that idea, we do have life and lore streams, which usually end up being a minimum of 2 hours, and we scratch the surface on the life and lore of a particular character. And hopefully these will help flesh that out a little more, and we'll be able to really look at these characters we love in unique ways. And also maybe address some of the things that people kind of complain about sometimes and say, you know, why did George write them this way? Is it a bad thing, or is it a preference? Like, is there actually like just amazing things that are written into these character stories?
Right.
So Anakin in Phantom Menace,
Phantom Menace.
we are seeing the young, like 9-year-old Annie.
He is so cute.
And obviously, you know, we're introduced to him at a point where he is a slave on Tatooine, and he doesn't have a father. It's just him and his mom, Shmi. He's working for Watto. I mean, he's a slave for Watto, and you find out a little bit about his family history, but basically he gets kind of connected with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, and with Padme, and all of this stuff kind of kickstarts, and you have the pod racing scene, and he ends up being actually pivotal in the destruction of the Trade Federation blockade, the liberation of Naboo from the invasion. So a lot of really big stuff happens for a little kid.
It's an eventful time.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, we learn about who he is, and you know, the prophecy of the chosen one and all this.
Right.
But I mean, do we even need to explain Anakin and the Phantom Menace, right? But I think it's a good recap.
I think that was good, yeah.
But why don't you start and really just start digging into what you like in Anakin and the Phantom Menace?
What I love about Anakin in the Phantom Menace is just the start of the character that I knew growing up was Darth Vader. And so just to seeing that start and that beginning, and I love the way they did it, because Anakin in the Phantom Menace, like when I think of him, I'm thinking of like purity and innocence and just hope. Even as a slave, he has hope. He has such a big heart. He's loving, he's caring. And then I remember just thinking, how does that turn into Darth Vader? Like, what happens? And he has a terrible story even at the point of 9 years old when we meet him. 9 or 10, I don't remember. I think it's 9. But he's a slave. He doesn't have a dad. Like, that's hard, yet he's so hopeful, he's so loving, and just seeing him interact with his friends, and just seeing that childlike innocence and purity. Like, I just love that about Anakin, and I think him in the Phantom Menace is so pivotal, because it sets up the rest of the story. It sets up to where we go into Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, into the original trilogy, all the way to his redemption, and it just makes the entire story just more beautiful to me, because it's just this big picture. So that's what I love most about the development of Anakin in the Phantom Menace, is just seeing how he started, knowing where he's going, and just seeing that process and that journey start off right off the bat.
Yeah, and you know, what's so interesting to me is that I know a lot of people have problems with Anakin portrayed by Jake Lloyd, and all of that. I'm not talking even about like the super negative, stupid stuff, but for me, when I see that, I'm like, that's a 9 or 10 year old kid.
Right.
Like, It's pretty amazing. It's like it's a little jarring to think of Darth Vader and then to see him as a kid, and maybe that's more so the people's problem.
Right.
But for me, I too really like seeing Anakin Skywalker like that. You get to understand his motives, and really, even with Yoda, really just talking to him about that his thoughts dwell on his mother, or I think that was actually Mace who told him that. But nonetheless, in that encounter, like you see that like he's so afraid, and it carries through the rest of the movies and the rest of his life. And I also think about how in Tatooine, the way he's interacting with Sebulba, and the way he's interacting with Watto, and he's doing these dangerous pod races that his mom doesn't like him doing. And there's even that deleted scene where he like tussles with Greedo, and so there's all this stuff where you see like he is thrown into an environment where he has to toughen up, where he has to get out of his comfort zone.
He had to grow up fast.
Yeah, and it's not just like I've seen some stuff, like he has to live like a criminal. And so you do see that the hardening of that young boy, but I thoroughly love how much he's like, I have dreams of freeing the slaves, and he knows about the Jedi, and he's like, are you an angel? The pilots talk about them, and then how excited he is, and yippee and all this, and like the pod race. So all this stuff, for me, I think that's really, really cool. And in particular, I like it so much because I think it does give more weight and gravitas to what happens to Anakin as he transitions to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader, and his redemption. Like, for me, I think it's a great start for his story. And I even like the mystery, of like, well, what happened before what we're seeing right now. And then I think the final thought I have, and then if you have anything to add, I remember at the end of the Phantom Menace how he has like the little Padawan braid, and really how he is like choosing to model himself after Obi, and it's like you're already seeing that relationship where he looks to him like a father,
right? And
so he's like, I mean, it would have been Qui-Gon, but Qui-Gon died, and he's very solemn, at what's happened, because that's intense. But then you're seeing that relationship where he's like, maybe unspoken, but he's like I see you like a dad, like you're gonna take care of me. And so I love seeing that in Anakin.
I think the one thing I just would like to add before we end it is no one's born as like Darth Vader. Like there's people aren't born like that. So there is a process and there is a story, and I think that Anakin in the Phantom Menace is the perfect way to start that story. Yeah,
I think so too. So let us know in the comments what you actually think about Anakin in the Phantom Menace. What do you love about him? What do you like about him? Let us know. We would love to keep this conversation just going a bit more. It's a great idea for a series. This is going to be really cool. We're going to hit a lot of people, a lot of movies, a lot of stuff. It's going to be awesome. But hey, with that, we are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.